Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Park. I'm the head of business development at Bittrex Global and the host of our video AMA. Today, we're featuring Division, and our guest is Boburjon Muydinov. He is the head of business development at the Division team. So, thank you very much for joining today. We're super excited about our partnership with your team, and super excited to learn more about the token as well. So, thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Jason. Thanks for inviting me to this AMA session with Bittrex Global. So to briefly introduce myself, my name is Boburjon Muydinov, but please go ahead and just call me Brian. As you mentioned, I'm the head of the business development at Dvision Network, and I've been with the team for 2 years now. And we have, for this period, we have reached significant milestones so far, and we are set and committed to achieve and attain higher even milestones together with the team. Uh, just wanted to say that to our community and the people who are watching this, that we are further committed to bringing the best user experience for our Division users, keep building the ultimate, blockchain-based metaverse protocol.
Sure, great. Thank you for that intro. So, for our AMAs, we typically source questions from both our Bittrex Global and the broader crypto communities regarding the listing. So, let's dive right in. First, to get things off, we always like to learn a little bit about our guest and hear your stories. So, can you tell our audience what gave you the idea to create this project?
So I guess the idea to initiate the Division Network traces back to a couple of years in when there were not many people who actually knew or understood the concept of the metaverses. It all started with the 9VR company, which is pretty solid and decent, South Korean game publishing company, where the core team members decided to that they want to commence the transition, the revolution, where the businesses will go from the offline to the online through the new experience of the gamification. But I guess the concept, which is now is more popular as the metaverse these days, and that's basically how it started in back in 2019. And especially it's been accelerating, and it's been highly entangled with the web3 industry, with the
Mhm.
application of the NFTs, with the DAO and the play to earn. The Division Network is achieving and going towards becoming the number one blockchain based metaverse protocol.
Got it, got it. And what about yourself? What kind of previous experiences are you coming in from?
I basically come from the finance background, and I've been in this industry for 3 to 4 years already. And previously, I've been working in the accelerator firm, and also been involved in some governmental, positions before that. And yeah, it's been basically 3 or 4 years in the industry, and
Yes.
honestly, it's been one of the most amazing experiences that I have been through, especially with the crypto and the blockchain. It's unprecedented thing. It's just being in the middle of the internet revolution, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And also curious to how you got first exposed to the crypto industry. Was it just the connection between crypto and finance?
Both, I guess, that and the exposure to the 2017 hype of the market boom, when there was a boom of the ICOs, and
Right.
especially back in those days we were really interested in just jumping in the train. But then when I got bitten off because the market went down, and I couldn't do anything about the portfolio and all this stuff, so
Mhm.
started digging in a lot about this universe, about the blockchain, about the cryptocurrencies. I dived in, and yeah, since then it's been every single day is about learning something and
Yeah.
opening something up. And I
Yeah.
guess now we are at the edge when we are leading this revolution together with the Division team and with the partners, where we are seeking new discoveries, where we are pushing this industry to its future.
Yeah, you guys are certainly at at the hottest industry right now. It's crypto plus metaverse. So definitely in that wave. I guess before we delve into the details of the project and the token itself, why the name Division? I would love to learn the story behind that.
The name Division, I guess it's pretty straightforward. Like, if you think about it, just take the word decentralization and division. So you basically get the division, right? The story behind the naming is pretty, built across the team's appreciation towards the decentralized approach in building the social metaverse platforms, and of course the unified vision that pushes us towards becoming the ultimate blockchain-based metaverse protocol. I keep kind of like repeating myself about this, but this is really about unified vision and appreciation towards the decentralization. It's all about giving back the control and the ownership back to the community. It's all about like moving from the Web 2 to the Web 3. It's all about this transition. Therefore, like Division is just kind of a incarnation of this.
Got it, got it. And I guess as a follow up to that, when someone hears the name Dvision Network, what's kind of the first thing you want them to think of? Kind of the actual use cases and some of the products that you're working on, if you can share that.
So first of all, when I guess when the users think or hear about the Division, there are several things that I personally and as our team would associate this with, right? It's all about the KPIs that we are building and across the milestones and the ideology. It's as I mentioned, and like becoming the multi-chain, the protocol, becoming the social metaverse platform, and I guess the eventually when the users think about the Division, I want them to think is this is ultimate blockchain-based metaverse with the smoothest UI and UX, with the best user experience that can be provided, with the absence of any sort of the borders or the limitations within the metaverse, because that's actually what metaverse should provide to the users. It's all about like absence of the borders or absence of the centralization and all that stuff.
Got it, got it. So, I'm also curious to learn who is like your main audience. What kind of is there a certain jurisdiction that you guys are targeting? Because the whole metaverse concept is built upon community, right? So, how are you guys kind of strategically approaching that?
So basically, we take our geographical expansions slowly but accurately, I guess. At this moment, we have a very wide communities across Southeast Asia and
Mhm.
South Korea as well, and in some CIS countries as well, including the Turkey. Uh, these are, I guess, at this moment the biggest community demographics that we are actually looking into. But again, the metaverse, the essential goal for the metaverse is to bring down those borders or the limitations or sort of kind of things. We allow everyone to participate in this. There is no need to be associated with a certain jurisdiction. You have the access to the metaverse from any part of the world. So we welcome everyone from the every single the corner of this world, and we are trying to maximize our user base and make it diverse as much as possible in order to get rid of this idea that we need to do the geographical expansions on a physical basis. We just want to
Mhm.
do this virtually, and yeah, that's pretty much like the goal here.
And are you guys having a active marketing strategic plans on really advertising the platform itself? And then also curious to hear about kind of the listing side of things, given that your project is based in Korea, and I'm sure you guys have a lot of Korean users, but also listing with us as a foreign exchange. So interested to hear about kind of your marketing side of things, and then potentially your listing strategy as well.
I guess the listing strategy here is not something that would be comfortable discussing. It's something that we keep confidential, but we keep this is the part of our overall strategy, like, right? It's all about bringing the DVI token to the masses and making it
Mhm.
more adopted by the users. Essentially, it's the DVI's the role in Division is that it serves as a utility, as a staking and the governance uh, unit. And for us, it's essential that everybody has access to it. So therefore, like we list on the centralized exchanges as well as on the decentralized exchanges, depending on basically to allow the users to be able to purchase it or to acquire the tokens. So regarding the marketing like activities,
Mhm.
we have several different marketing channels that we utilize. Basically, we'll be using and collaborating with the KOLs, with the leading thought leaders in order to spread the word about the division. We have a very very active community on our Twitter that we spread our news through our communities as well. And essentially we also use the media releases as well. So therefore, like, if any user comes across the division, there is a touch point where the user comes and meets the division. He can go to the Google and search for the news, and there are going to be a lot of them, because we actively cooperate with the media in order to share the news or the updates that we have in division.
Great, great. Thanks for sharing that. Another question is actually from our community member, and the question is, one of the things that I see Division offers is the VR City feature. Can you kind of get into the details of that feature?
I guess the VR city is known at this moment as Meta City because of the rebranding that we made.
Okay.
Uh, to kind of like simply explain the whole thing about the Division Metaverse, is it's segregating into different platform pillars. The first would be the Meta City, as you mentioned. The second would be the Meta Space, which is the essential unit of the Meta City, because the Meta Space is the land NFT that we actually did through the land sales. We sold it through the land sales, that gives access to the Meta City. The last one would be the NFT marketplace. So as of now, the users are allowed to access Division World. They will be able to land on the Division World in the lobby. So the
Mm.
lobby has the central warp tower, which actually should teleport you to the 20 different meta cities. The Division Network will be segregated into different meta cities. This is the concept of the division. So basically, as you see on my background, it's the division lobby, and from there you can actually teleport to the any meta city that you select. But the meta cities will be released sequentially. We are planning to release the first meta city probably in the quarter 2, where the users will be able to go there and see the first, the concept of the virtual reality of the virtual city. The first would be the soul, of course, and in the soul there are going to be different meta spaces, and each meta city is divided into 40, 40, and 20 classification, which basically means that 40% belongs to the owners of the lands that were purchased through the land sale, and the 40 remaining percent will belong to the play to earn concept, where the users can purchase like pets and engage in the battles with those monsters in order to clarify and purify that land. And once the land is purified, they will get the bonuses for their contribution. So basically, the land will go to the auction, and through the auction, the land will be sold for the DVI tokens, and each user will receive the equal amount of the tokens that he actually can claim, depending
Mhm.
on the contribution. And the 20 remaining percent is dedicated for the partners, for the division brand, brand related, contents and all this stuff.
Mm. And the can the users actually develop that land other aside from kind of
Yeah.
just purchase
There
and
is a
sell?
there is a tool called like 3D tool, it's a builder tool, pretty much similar to what Sandbox offers, right?
Mm.
It's called the MySpace,
Okay.
which is the term that we are not using much, but the internally we call it MySpace. The MySpace tool is actually, it allows to build your own, your own kind of the virtual concept of your meta space within your land. And
Hmm.
it has some basic instructions. It has some basic NFTs inserted into the inventory there. But essentially, we are planning to release it along with the meta city, I guess.
Got it. Interesting. And as a follow up to this question, we had a few inquiries about what someone physically needs in order to kind of get set up and participate in the project. So, do users need a VR equipment or any type of hardware to enjoy the Division Network, or are there other ways to get involved?
I mean, at this point, if you have just a proper basic, setup, you have the we allow the users to access the Dvision Metaverse by downloading the client, and we have the clients available for the Mac, for the MacBook, and we have for the Android and the Windows again.
Mhm.
But iOS is still in the development. I guess it's more about enabling it by the time when we get more users and we get more exposure during the release of our Meta City, right?
Sure.
But briefly, there is nothing specific that you need. It's just a basic setup for the social metaverse platform. But the VR equipment, it's something that it's in our future plans. Because right now, we don't support the VR extension.
I see. Okay, understood. And let's also talk about the role of the DVI token. I know that you alluded to it a little bit. It's a play to earn concept with staking capabilities. But can you get into the details of the token, the use cases, and the tokenomics of the DVI token?
Right. It's also disclosed in our Git book that we released, and every user can go there and see more about the DBI's role in the token economics. But I'll just simply probably touch base on certain aspects, such as the DBI's role, as I mentioned. It's for the payment for the NFTs. You basically go to the NFT marketplace. You can purchase certain NFT items, including the land NFTs, and we will be releasing soon the pet NFTs, which will be essential aspect for the users to capitalize on the meta cities. So basically, in each meta city, as I mentioned, there are going to be some meta spaces that the users can claim through the play to earn concept. But to access it, you're going to need the pet.
Mm-hmm.
And the role of the DVI, as I said, it's a payment. The other will be the staking, including the staking of the NFTs and the staking of the token itself for the certain bonuses or the rewards that we are going to be setting soon. The other is the governance. We are devising the DAO system because our essential goal is to transfer the entire ownership across the metaverse back to the users, so that the users will have the full access through their voting powers by staking their token in the governance system.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, these are the main use cases, but there are different, different, more explicit and the detailed ways how the DVI token is entangled in the whole idea of the Dvision metaverse. So please go ahead and just check out the Git book where you can see the entire use cases along with the token economics.
Sure, sure, absolutely. And looking forward now, can you walk us through your team's roadmap for the future? What do some of these upcoming milestones look like for the upcoming year, and maybe the kind of long-term vision of 5 to 10 years?
Just to kind of make a statement, right? We are indeed in the long-term game, as we see ourselves as one of the main actors in the further metaverse mainstream adoption game. We're devising dozens of strategies to boost the onboarding process for all types of the users, as we try to accommodate all types of the businesses, regular users, and content creators, enterprises. I guess all the types of the users with diverse needs and plans for their metaverse experience. As for now, the 2020 is going to be the revolutionary phase for the division, as we are currently at the stage of scaling and producing more cutting edge solutions within our metaverse, which we actually, as I mentioned, launched last year, and now we are set towards opening those, the little pieces of the content that will actually bring us to the new level of the adoption. This is the play to earn and the meta city.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, we will keep onboarding the businesses and large enterprises through the strategic partnerships to introduce their brand content in our metaverse. Again, last but not least, 2022 is going to further add some oil to our multi-chain initiative as we are moving towards the milestone gradually, but in a very firm way.
Sure, sure. And metaverse has been a very hot topic these days. I'm curious to also hear your thoughts on Facebook rebrand to Meta, and kind of how you guys foresee, these big giant companies coming into the metaverse industry, how you foresee them kind of maybe coexist with your team, or potentially looking at them as competitors. Just curious to see what your thoughts on that.
I honestly, Lau, how the industry, how the entire industry is currently growing, right? I'm personally
Hmm.
fascinated by the fact that metaverse concept is going way further than it used to be previously.
Yeah.
So, in the blockchain space, there were like, the leaders were the people already knew about the metaverse, such as the Decentraland and the Sandbox. They were already like, kind of advocating for this term.
Hmm.
But then the real game changer, we should all like, probably like admit the fact that the rebranding of the meta has caused a huge influx of the potential users to the different metaverses, not only in the one like, metaverse. Probably when the meta announced about the rebranding, it shouldn't be like, the effect on the blockchain based like, metaverses. I thought it would be like, in the advantage of the advantage of the Roblox, or the Roblox kind of like, leaders in the market. But what we actually saw is that like the users were actually coming into different metaverses, because what I know for a fact that in the metaverse space there won't be an overarching kind of the situation in the Web3, like, especially like, space. I
Hmm.
guess each metaverse here has its own use case. They have own economics, rewards, and the features. They have their own policies, and ultimately, I guess like what we're gonna need in the future itself, like it's gonna be the interoperability between the between
Sure.
the protocols. That's the same issue with the blockchains right now, right? Everybody has their own
Hmm.
like, dedicated blockchain, but now they are building the bridges to be interoperable between each other. The same will apply to the NFTs and the metaverses. What we're gonna see is that like, the each metaverse will have their own user base, and they will be like unique in their own specific way, because some of the users of the Sandbox might be like, only the Minecraft or the Sandbox kind of users, and some people will actually prefer doing some sort of business, which division is more fitable for like, I don't think like Sandbox is good for like, introducing your own metaverse based like, I don't know, shopping mall.
Hmm.
Better to do in the division, because I can assure that we have the best UI and the best like, fitted like tools and the facilities within our virtual reality.
Sure, sure, and it's an interesting viewpoint, and tend to agree. I think better or worse, it did bring a lot of attention to the industry, and I think it was kind of similar when a couple of years ago when they announced that they were gonna have their own token within the platform. That brought huge attention,
Yeah.
especially to the U.S. regulators, but it did just brought general attention and awareness to the whole industry, and I think that's very positive at this stage of where the industry is at. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
I guess like just one thing to mention about the metaverse market itself, like, we are in a very, very early stage of the development. Actually, there's a
Right.
lot that we need to do, and it takes a lot of time.
Hmm.
But what I know for a fact, like when the market will get saturated, the understanding and the comprehension of the whole market will be the total opposite to what we used to know about the social networks, which would be, the winner gets all. This is going to be total opposite to this concept.
Hmm. Yeah. I guess sidestepping a little bit, and this is also a question from one of our users, and the question is, how important is the community to the Division project? To what extent are the opinions of the community considered when making project decisions?
Right. To tell you at this point what we have counted recently, we are currently standing at somewhere like 1 million users across our different like, the social platforms and the division like, registered users. It all accounted to 1 million users. We
Mm.
first of all want to thank all those users that are supporting and being with us through this like, development phases. It's not always like, that great, because when you are actually developing something like division, It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of resources, so it takes a lot of commitment, to be honest.
Sure.
But to talk about the community itself, I guess we are operating in the industry where the community is basically everything. And whatever we do in the project is we try to give back the control and value back to the users and the community members. We devised the DAO governance system to give the voting power to the stakeholders, right? So they can vote on the major proposals, on the governance proposals. We devised a play to earn mechanism in a very sustainable way to allow the community members to capitalize on the available assets in the Dvision metaverse. And apart from that, we do the land sales, and we allow it to, through the play to earn, to claim those lands, to basically let the users to build their own, like, metaverse based content and do whatever they want to do within there. And the NFT marketplace is the essential, like, central decentralized mechanism that allows them to purchase those lands, to purchase the NFTs that they want to integrate in their lands, I guess.
Got
Yeah,
it.
we do really value our community. We always try to keep listening closely to their feedbacks.
Mhm.
We learn from them a lot. We listen to their needs and the preferences, and we try to integrate it in our like development. But again, we have our own roadmap that we have established, and we have to stick to the roadmap. Therefore, like, sometimes when the community is asking for something, we try to listen to this and we try to adopt it, but it takes longer time because of our original roadmap that we have to follow.
Sure. Got it. Thanks for sharing that. Let's also talk about security. And, at Bittrex Global, it's something that we pride ourselves in. It's security and safety of our users. And, a lot of teams also list with us because we're known for security and kind of custody aspects, especially in the, exchange space. So a lot of users participate in metaverse platforms that's directly tied to certain investments that they make, right? So I guess what steps have you kind of taken to ensure that anyone participating in the Dvision project is protected from kind of these external security threats?
Right. Got it. So just to mention, like, Bittrex has been there already for 10 years, right? Like, you guys are the oldest, like, exchanges in the space. That's great.
Yeah.
And haven't seen anything about the exploits or anything on the Bittrex yet.
No, not gonna lie, but we've never had a security incident.
Right. So basically, if the question is towards the platform itself, right? Like, we utilize the cloud services, and we
Mhm.
plan to move to the, we plan to move the database on chain utilizing anchor nodes. It's in the motion right now. We're developing it, and in the future, this is probably going to be a very near future. We're going to be using the IPFS, like, system for the better and safer storage of the NFT related data. Such as lands, pets, and the other types of the NFTs that are going to be on Dvision Metaverse. And I guess, like, in this way, what we are really trying to do is to decentralize and make it to a certain extent permissionless, the management of the metadata and the different sort of data in Dvision, and to make the whole platform safer. In order to get rid of the centralization risk, right? Like, we have to renounce the external ownership address, and apart from that, we're going to use the DAO mechanism, as I said, to get rid of the centralization risk.
Mhm.
Regarding our smart contracts, what I can say is that we have the full security checks intact, made by the auditors, including the CertiK and the Slow Mist. And we are pretty transparent about that, and we keep the open profile on their website. So if any user is interested in the vulnerability of our smart contracts, that they can go to the CertiK's dashboard and see the audits and the kind of security score that Dvision has. And apart from that, I guess we keep always consulting with the auditors and specialized, like, blockchain development firms to see how we can improve, and
Mhm.
especially in the security aspect. That's because we are right now prioritizing some sort of, like, the concept which are pretty, like, innovative in this space. Like, there are not many the multi-chain, like, metaverse protocols. It's just the
Mhm.
vision of trying to bring that, like, multi-chain aspects through the bridges to the NFT, so that the users have way more like freedom in terms of how they kind of interact with their NFTs. And for the first instance, I guess like we what we are trying to do right now, we did the land sale on the Polygon,
Mm.
did the land sale on the Binance Smart Chain. Both were like huge success. Now what we are trying to do is to build a bridge between the Binance Smart Chain and the Polygon for those NFTs, and we are going to be enabling the users to move across their like assets from one chain to another, and that's necessary, I guess, in order to access certain marketplace. Because I think like let's say the user has the NFT and he goes to Refinable and doesn't see any liquidity there because the user
Mhm.
is not in Refinable. So he goes back to the Dvision, he moves it to the Polygon, and goes to OpenSea, which probably has more user base.
Mhm.
And this way we provide the ultimate like freedom and access to the NFTs and the other stuff. Uh, got a bit like confused and distracted from the question, but in overall we are highly committed to prioritizing the security of our protocol. That's what
Yeah,
I can.
and that's great to hear. And I think we definitely share that same vision. Security is very important, and I think both companies are in this industry for the long term, and security obviously becomes very important. And I also agree with your comments on the interoperability, not just with blockchains and cryptocurrency, but the metaverse industry in order to scale. I mean, that's crucial to the development. So 100% agree. And we're already up to our last question, but was there anything else that I haven't asked that you kind of wanted to delve into?
Not necessarily, I guess. Like it's been pretty fruitful and productive like discussion today.
Yeah, absolutely. So my final question. So what's the best way for our community and that for our community members to get involved with the Division Network?
I guess in case of the Division, like the best way to keep up with our news and the updates and certain like disclosures is to just follow our Twitter handle and the Telegram, like join in the Telegram community as well. But apart from that, like we share the most important like development, like releases on our Medium publication. And yeah, as I said, like we work and collaborate with the media, the very closely, and therefore like every single you know very essential like development release is always going to be there.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Brian, for joining us for this AMA today. I've definitely learned a lot about Division and the DVI token. So we're super excited about the partnership and the future of Division. So thank you again, Brian.
Thank you very much, Jason. Take care. Thanks.
Yeah, and if our viewers want to learn more about Division, please go to www.division.network. That's DVISION.network. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thanks.